What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. It is Friday, January 26th. My name is Ewan, and on today's episode, we're going to get into some Fantasy Premier League with a Game Week 22 preview. It's been a long time since Game Week 21 started. It's been kind of a long time since it ended on Monday night. So it's good to get back into a Game Week preview. I did do a video last week around chip strategy, but we've already got tons of new information. So there will be another one of those coming out in the next couple of weeks, but still check it out. Some good thoughts, evergreen content on there. So if you want to never miss a video on Backup Fantasy Sports, just like and subscribe to the channel. We've got lots of FPL content coming out. F1 Fantasy is right around the corner. We got preseason testing next month, and the entire season kicks off in Bahrain next month as well. So definitely like and subscribe to check all of that content out, and follow me on X at UNFPL just to follow my daily rumblings about fantasy sports, whatever is going on in the world. But let's get into the Game Week 22 preview here with a quick look back at Game Week 21. Not great. Took a red arrow, about 60K red arrow, but I didn't make any drastic moves. A lot of people in the community did make some big swings, and they paid off with some excellent transfers, like for Diogo Jota. People brought in Purvis again. People got Paro. I still don't have either of those guys. It's making me quite nervous. The wild card is a little bit in my thoughts. There's still some information to come out before the Game Week 22 deadline, which is on Tuesday. So yeah, I don't think I'll be going wild card, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, as I'm not loving the squad construction right now. But as is often the case in FPL, patience is a virtue. But here was the squad. I did try to squeak by without transferring out Trent Alexander-Arnold. Had Pau Torres and Charlie Taylor that were both yellow flagged. Neither of them started. They weren't even in the squad. So I played 10 men this week. Not ideal. Gabriel, 17-pointer, would have been a disastrous game week without that. So thank you to him there. Gvardiol, 1-pointer, not got the 6 points that first week, but that may have been a bad transfer by me. Cole Palmer with 10, didn't go with him as captain, went with Saka, who is unlucky, I would say. Still think that Gabriel's second goal was a goal like him that kind of just got saved into the net. I'm not really sure how they would class that as not on target. And yeah, the forward line just pretty flat. Alvarez, Watkins, Dominic Solanke. Watkins has been talked about a lot in the community this week. 99% owned at almost every single like rank tier here. So I don't really want him in my team, but little short swords and shields there with Watkins. So he's pretty boring, but if he did some damage one week and you don't have him, that is a major kerfuffle in your team. I did transfer Son to Foden. Diogo Jota was in my thoughts quite a lot going into that game week, but then the news of Man City's confirmed double game week happened. I was like, I need to get more City in. There's no updates on Erling Haaland yet. KDB hadn't really come back and had his 12-pointer. So that's why I went with Foden over Jota. Long term, hopefully it pays off, but it doesn't feel great right now after Jota had that 19-point outburst against Bournemouth. The fixtures for Game Week 22 here, I'm not going to run through them all, but it is played over Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. Some key games to watch: Aston Villa versus Newcastle Tuesday night. That should be a good one. Saka away at Nottingham Forest as well, with Arsenal kind of, they looked better in that 5-zip win over Crystal Palace, but yeah, Saka's still not getting the returns. But like I said, he wasn't lucky. Probably could have had a goal, should have had an assist, in my opinion. Yeah, Man City, Burnley, we will definitely be watching the team sheet for that one. Is Erling Haaland going to make the squad? There are some quotes that I'm going to bring up here later about Haaland's fitness from Pep Guardiola. Liverpool-Chelsea will just kind of be a good game to watch in general. We've got some benching decisions there with Cole Palmer. West Ham, Bournemouth, and Wolves, Man United play on Thursday night. So 3 days of football for us to watch during the midweek after the FA Cup 4th round ties this weekend. Best teams here on the fixture ticker. This is from Fantasy Football Scout. I do want to say that this does not include the presumed Liverpool and Luton blank that's coming up in game week 26 because Chelsea and Liverpool have both qualified for the Carabao Cup final. It is assumed that Liverpool and Luton will not play that tie, but if they both lose in the FA Cup fourth round this weekend, they could possibly play that in the midweek of game week 26, and it would not cause a blank. So because that has not been confirmed, it is not built into the fixture ticker on Fantasy Football Scout. As a result, Liverpool are still ninth or something in the fixture ticker, whereas Luton are down here in 18th. But the 5 best teams coming forward here, Man City have 7 fixtures over the next 6 game weeks, so they are top of there. Burnley, Brentford, Everton. Their double game week will be after a Chelsea tie where they have Brentford and Bournemouth and then Man United. So should be a great week for Man City in that double game week 25 there. Aston Villa, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Arsenal. Brighton's highlighted here with Pervis Stupinan coming back into our thoughts. It's a FPL asset. He's been quite fantastic since he came back from injury. They've got Luton, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, Sheffield United, Everton, and Fulham over their next 6 weeks as well. Chelsea here because of their blank, but they also have Liverpool and Man City over the next 6 game weeks. So that's a tough schedule for them. I'm still going to hold Cole Palmer. He's not going to go anywhere in my lineup for now. Burnley, Luton, Tottenham because of the blank with Chelsea in game week 26, and Bournemouth down there as well. So some teams to kind of look at, try to get people in. Brighton's definitely in my thoughts this week. Worst teams, Chelsea, Burnley, Luton, Tottenham, Bournemouth. The blanks are going to start to come into play. Double game week theory is coming along. So we are definitely going to be keeping an eye on that as the game weeks roll along. Here is the excellent at Lego Mane _ FPL's kind of fixture crunch here. This is the last time he updated it, so the black line is a few days out of date, but we're here on Friday. Those gray blocks that you can see, those are all the FA Cup ties, and then we've got the midweek game week in game week 22. Bournemouth already crushed Swansea last night 5-0 in the FA Cup, so they are on to the 5th round. So we're going to know a lot more about the upcoming fixtures after this weekend of FA Cup fixtures. There'll be some upsets, there'll be some annoying draws and replays to add into the schedule. So we will have to keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on Lego Mane _ FPL, at Ben Krellin, at Planet FPL James, all those fantastic resources. And I will steal them and put them on this episode whenever they get updated, probably for a game week 23 preview or an updated chip strategy episode. Here are the quotes from Pep Guardiola regarding Erling Haaland for the FA Cup tie. He said, "Tomorrow is still not ready, but he is close." So these are from yesterday's press conferences about the FA Cup 4th round tie with Tottenham. City Extra on Twitter said, "Erling Haaland does not feel any pain in his foot during training over the past 10 days, confirms Pep Guardiola. Now he feels good, and now we give him 3 or 4 more days, and hopefully against Burnley, he can play some minutes. His first minutes, we will see." So that probably takes him out of the captaincy running for game week 22. Sounds like he's not going to start. Maybe he'll get 20, 25 minutes off the bench. It might be slightly more encouraging if he somehow makes it into the squad for tonight's FA Cup tie against Tottenham. But if he's not going to be ready, he probably won't be around the team for that. So just keep an eye out on that, just in case there's any surprising reveals in the lineups tonight. But yeah, sounds like Haaland's still not going to be a must-have option for game week 22. It did come out in some other quotes that Pep was like, "Yeah, we thought it wasn't a fracture, but it was a fracture. So that's going to take 6 to 8 weeks," which is exactly kind of about what it's going to be. So Pep could have just been honest with us, but where's the fun in that? Another significant injury has also happened since the game week 21 preview. Mohamed Salah. We were all hoping he was going to return from AFCON early, and he has. Unfortunately, it's with an injury that's going to cost him 21 to 28 days, revealed his agent. He tweeted out earlier this week, "Mohamed's injury is more serious than first thought, and he will be out for 21 to 28 days and not 2 games. That's what the Egyptian FA said initially when he was injured in a 2-2 tie with Ghana in the second game of their group stage. His best chance of participating in the current AFCON is by undergoing intensive rehabilitation in the UK and rejoining the team as soon as he is fit." A lot of people are saying that that's going to be the final. Egypt have not looked good. I doubt they even make the quarterfinal. It'll be surprising if they get past this next round in the round of 16. So Salah won't have any international commitments, I would think, by the time he gets healthy. But 21 to 28 days. So from the time of that tweet here on the table over here, I've got each game week 22, 23, 24, 25, and then 25/26, because if that Liverpool Luton game is confirmed as a blank, like if both teams win in the FA Cup or one of them wins in the FA Cup this weekend, they won't be able to move that to the middle of game week 26. So they might move it forward to a double game week in game week 25. That's what a lot of people are assuming right now. That's why you should not make your transfers yet. I think I talked about that already. Yeah, just hold on to those transfers until we get past this round of FA Cup games, because a lot's going to be revealed. So game week 22, Chelsea, that's 10 days away. He's not going to be fit for that. Game week 23 against Arsenal, 14 days. Highly unlikely he's going to be fit for that. 24 is when we start to get into the realm of possibility. Home against Burnley, February 10th. That's 20 days. So that's on the very, very early side of the timeline there. 25 at Brentford, 27 days. And then 25/26 for Luton, as of right now, is February 24th, which is more likely going to be February 21st. So that'll be about 30 days. So he should be back for that second game against Luton. But I think it's time to sell Mohamed Salah. We do not need him in our FPL squads for now. He's going to miss at least the next 3 game weeks, I would say, possibly 4. If he's only going to play like a few minutes in that double game week, he's not a necessity there either. So who can we replace it with? Kevin De Bruyne, Diogo Jota, Phil Foden, Richarlison, Bowen. Those are the options I've got here on this table. KDB, Jota, Foden, Richarlison, Bowen, with their XGI per 90 over the last 6, the predicted points over the next 6, thanks to Fantasy Football Scout, and the fixture difficulty rating, also thanks to Fantasy Football Scout, over their next 6. So De Bruyne and Foden have the easiest schedule over the next 6 as they play 7 games. Jota's there in 8th without the blank confirmed, so he could move down there a lot. Richarlison's in 17th because of the blank, and Bowen is there in 11th. So Man City have far and away the best schedule here amongst these 5 candidates. KDB, 2.02 XGI per 90, helps when you have 2 returns in like 25 minutes. So that'll do nicely. Predicted points, 38.4. There was a report saying that he's ready to play 90 minutes. I will have to see him play 60 to 70 minutes in tonight's FA Cup game to kind of believe that, as he sounded like he was pretty gassed after that Newcastle cameo, but he could be a great option. I can not get him in without getting rid of one Man City player, as I'm tripled up on them right now. So that would be quite a conundrum for me there. Diogo Jota, fantastic since his return. He's had like 4 goals, 4 assists or something like that. 0.87 XGI per 90 in his last 6 as well. Predicted points, 30.6. I guess that's assuming that Mo Salah comes back or Klopp kind of rotates a little bit. But right now, Jota is the first name on the Liverpool team sheet for me, at least up front. Him and Darwin have been spectacular. They've looked seamlessly like working together. I think if Salah comes back, I think it would be Luis Diaz who loses his spot. And then Darwin and Jota have both shown that they can play any position in that front 3. So Jota should stick around in that team. You are bringing in someone for a potential double, but also with a blank right afterwards. So that's something to consider as well. With De Bruyne and Foden, you don't have that worry. You're just bringing people with the doubles. So that's great there. Richarlison's in the same boat as Jota, with a slightly less attacking team in Tottenham. Still pretty phenomenal, like offensive side there, but also a blank in game week 26. So that's not great either. That's a confirmed blank. Chelsea will definitely not play that game. Bowen here as well, 0.5 XGI per 90. 24.4 is the 4th lowest out of the 5 guys here, with Richarlison right below him at 22.5. 11th, hard or easiest schedule, whatever you want to say there. Not feeling Bowen either, though. Just not. Haven't really been on him all season. He's kind of ticked along nicely, very Ollie Watkins-esque, I would say. But yeah, he's just been a weird price point for me, so I've never gotten him in my team. So for Salah right now, Jota is probably the replacement I would go with. He's the replacement I'm thinking about going with for my Game Week 22 transfer, which I have one of. That would make it quite easy for Game Week 23 to just kind of straight up swap Alvarez out for Haaland whenever he comes back. Give me enough money there, and then we'll figure out the rest later because it's the news is kind of coming thick and fast, and there's a lot that we have to figure out while all this information is coming out. And this is what I used in a slide last week for my chip strategy episode. So this is what we're going to learn before Game Week 22. So 5 things we're going to learn here. So the Carabao Cup finalists, we've learned that this week Liverpool and Chelsea have progressed to the Carabao Cup. They will not play that Game Week 26 tie, at least on the day that they were originally slated to. January 25th through the 29th, right now the FA Cup 4th round, Bournemouth beat Swansea 5-0 last night, so they are on to the 5th round. But there's a bunch of more Premier League teams to play. Man City, Spurs play tonight. Liverpool, Man United play on Sunday. We'll also get the FA Cup 5th round draw here, and that will let us know if there are any Premier League on Premier League ties, who is potentially going to blank. Like if Liverpool and Man City play each other in the 5th round, then that's going to clear up a lot of stuff for Game Week 29. So Game Week 29 is when the big blank is going to happen due to the FA Cup quarterfinals. So it's definitely something to look out for on Sunday or Monday, whenever that draw is going to happen. AFCON quarterfinals are going to be kind of getting set up there. So the round of 16 takes place this weekend in AFCON and the Asia Cup. So we'll know if South Korea is done because they haven't looked super impressive. They nearly got knocked out by Malaysia last night or 2 nights ago, I think. And AFCON quarterfinals, 6 of the 8 teams will be confirmed for that round. Moving on here, Ben Krellin, the guru of FPL schedules, just his tweets after the Carabao Cup semifinals were all done from yesterday. Liverpool and Chelsea have reached the EFL Cup final. Liverpool versus Luton and Chelsea versus Spurs will be postponed in Game Week 26. Each fixture has at least a 95% chance of becoming a blank fixture. The midweek in Game Week 26 is when the FA Cup 5th round takes place, so if neither team involved in Game Week 26 postponement reaches the FA Cup 5th round, then the fixture could stay in Game Week 26, which is possible, actually. So Chelsea versus Spurs. Spurs play Man City and Chelsea play Aston Villa. So that could also be something where that Game Week 26 is moved back a few days for Chelsea to like the middle of Game Week 26. So we should actually watch out for that. So the Fantasy Football Scout ticker has updated it for that probability. It sounds like it's most likely going to happen, but we will get that confirmed this weekend. That's what Ben says at the end of this tweet. Game Week 26 blanks will probably be confirmed this weekend. And then in the follow-up tweet, he says, it's very unlikely that both Liverpool and Luton will lose this weekend to Norwich and Everton, respectively. But if they do both lose, then I think Liverpool versus Luton would likely move to the midweek in Game Week 26. There's more of a chance that both Chelsea and Spurs will both lose this weekend to Villa and Man City, respectively. But if they do both lose, then I'd be surprised if Chelsea versus Tottenham moves to the midweek in Game Week 26. Sky will televise the fixture and probably won't want the same night as a televised FA Cup game. The FA Cup this weekend is likely to clear up Game Week 26, but it will also give us a much clearer picture of blank Game Week 29. I'll post some schedule spreadsheets on Sunday and Monday. I'm probably waiting until Monday before I decide what transfer to make for Game Week 22. So Ben Krellin's going to wait to make his transfer. That probably means that we should wait because that guy has a ton of great finishes in FPL over the last decade. Definitely someone to follow and kind of pick his thoughts as he kind of lays them out on his Twitter account there. Lots of injury news this week. So just not a lot of actual game week preview matchups going on here, but it is the captaincy debate that we need to talk about. KDB, Jota, Foden, Saka, Richarlison. Those are the 5 guys I picked for game week 22 here. Predicted points. We've got Richarlison at 5.65, Phil Foden at 5.6, Saka at 5.5, KDB at 5.45, and Jota at 5.3. XGI per 90 over the last 6 here. I already talked about KDB, Jota, Foden, Richarlison's, but Saka is also 0.70. Very unlikely to not get a return last week versus Crystal Palace, but it is what it is. And then the opponents for this week with their expected goals conceded over the last 6, De Bruyne and Phil Foden. They have Burnley, who have given up the 3rd most expected goals conceded over the last 6 weeks. Saka has a top 10 matchup against Nottingham Forest, but Jota faces Chelsea, who have been the 7th toughest defense over the last 6, and Richarlison has Bournemouth, who have been the 5th toughest defense over the last 6 game weeks in terms of expected goals conceded. My mind kind of wanders to Phil Foden. I have 4 of these guys, so that's not super helpful for my own team, but hopefully this helps you clear things up in your brain. Jota has been fantastic for the last 3 games and seems like a kind of talismanic player for Liverpool at the moment, very clinical. Chelsea, they seem on the rise as well, though, so that could be a tight affair at Anfield, whereas Burnley's at home. I've got the Phil Foden fixture wrong there. That's Burnley at home. 3rd easiest expected goals conceded over the last 6 game weeks. Foden seems like, even if Haaland comes back into the team, I don't think that affects Foden's minutes so much as Alvarez's. So definitely need to keep that in mind. KDB, probably a candidate to get subbed off, but I don't think Foden's minutes are going to be as affected. So I'm kind of leaning towards Phil Foden this week as my captaincy pick. But let me know in the comments below who's going to be your captain for the game week 22 fixtures. Here are what the couple of models that I follow say what my team should do. Salah to Odegaard, Salah to Eze, and Charlie Taylor to Robertson here on FPL Review. FPL Review, great model, usually makes the right call, but I don't really love any of those transfers this week in game week 22, so I can't see myself going there. The thing that I'm kind of worried about with transferring out Salah, which I do need to do, I understand that, but it kind of gives me a benching headache for game week 22, because let's look at my team over here. So right now I've got Areola, Trent, Gabriel, Gvardiol at the defense along the back line, Saka, Richarlison, Foden, Palmer, and then Alvarez, Watkins, and Solanke. Everyone kind of has good fixtures. Who am I going to bench out of this? I'm not going to bench Palmer because he's got 28 points in the last 2 game weeks. Foden's got a great fixture. Richarlison's got a good fixture. Saka's got a good fixture. Alvarez, Watkins is just a EO shield, and Solanke. Solanke is the only one I could really bench. I would play Jota over Solanke. Solanke scored last night in the FA Cup, so that's kind of a decision I'd have to make there. I see myself getting rid of Watkins or Solanke in the near future or on a wild card whenever that comes around. But yeah, just getting rid of Salah kind of creates a benching headache where I could maybe fix one of my defenders like a Charlie Taylor. Pau Torres looks like he's more flagged than he was previously. So hopefully you'll get some more team news ahead of game week 22 to sort out my defense. That kind of FPL General always says fix out or like kind of put out the fires in your team, and that will make it better. And Salah is a pretty big fire, but I have enough coverage in the attack to kind of get by. So whereas my defenders have been a little bit of a problem recently, as I had 10 guys out on the field last week. Looking at FPL Hub here, they think I should sell Salah for Bowen. I kind of talked about my feelings about Bowen already. Not super enamored with him. He's a good pick, but he didn't give me the tingly feeling that you want when you make that transfer in FPL. But yeah, this is where my squad is for game week 22. 58.5 points on FPL Review, 54.06 on Scout, and 58.3 with the captain's armband on Phil Foden. FPL Review had me with the captain's armband on Alvarez. Hub had it on Saka. So yeah, everyone's just as confused as we are. But there's still a whole FA Cup round to go. Press conferences come out. It's going to be a 3-day game week. It's going to be a lot shorter than the game week 21 we just had there for FPL. Hopefully, we get some clarity regarding the fixtures, the FA Cup 5th round, and possible blanks in game week 29. But yeah, keep your eye on Twitter, ear to the ground, watch those games, just see what everyone's looking like. Bournemouth looked fantastic last night against Swansea, but they did not look great on Sunday against Liverpool. So, yeah, we'll hopefully learn a lot more in FPL over the next few days before the Game Week 22 deadline. But remember to check out rotoballer.com. Our Game Week preview is coming out there on the site later today on Friday, January 26th. And then the rankings will be out on Monday, just in case there's any injuries to any players over the weekend. But don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel or the podcast if you're listening on the audio side. And once again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.